Are you ready? Yes, sir. Okay. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. This is the November 4th meeting of the Clinton School Committee. Can we begin with a motion to accept the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Motion being made and seconded. Any discussion on approval of the bills? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Could we have a motion to approve the minutes from October 21st?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Varakis. Is there a second?
Second. Deb.
Motion being made and seconded. Thank you both. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor of approving the minutes? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Sophia, our student rep.
Good evening.
Hi,
Good
Sophia.
evening.
Hey. Clinton High School's boys soccer team has made it to the playoffs and had their first game this afternoon versus Keefe Tech. With a score of 3-0 Clinton, the students at CHS are eager for the rest of their season and see nothing but success for the boys. Clinton High School's robotics team, Gale Force, will be having their annual kickoff November 5th to welcome parents of new and returning members to the team. The meeting will begin at 6 p.m. and parents must be present for the 1-hour meeting. Ms. Solar has set out to start a food pantry for students in need here at the high school. NHS students will be helping out by keeping the pantry organized and stocked and will help to collect donations and advertise. Clinton High congratulates 4 field hockey members for being elected as Mid-Wachusett Division E All-Stars. Haven Leclerc as First Team All-Star, Kiara Bijou and Alana Hogue for Second Team All-Stars, and Maddie McDonald, Mid-Wachusett E All-Academic Team All-Star. And last week, the boys and girls cross-country team has been awarded the Division E Sportsmanship Award.
That's wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thank
Anything from the PTA tonight? Kelly?
Hi.
Hi, Kelly. I only have one thing for our PTA meeting. Will be held next Thursday, November 14th at 3:30 p.m. We're meeting right after school. We're meeting at the Early Resource Center in the superintendent's office, and we encourage parents and teachers to bring their children, and they can play. The kids can play in the gym while we have our meeting in our office. So we're trying to accommodate teachers and having more participation and see
Great.
how it goes. Good idea. Thanks.
And CPAC?
Yeah, so our next meeting is tomorrow night, Tuesday, November 5th in the CS Library. We have Mara Nascimento from Speech coming to our meeting to do a brief overview of speech and then having 5 to 10 minutes of question and answers, but not specific for a child, but just to give information about what our speech departments do. We find that a lot of our parents don't understand exactly what some of our services are, and part of our commitment as a PAC is to bring that information to our meetings. We also participated in the Harvest Festival at CMS on Saturday, and we made $120 going towards our scholarship. And the Clintonopoly fundraiser is actively in place. We have 10 spots taken so far. And I have to just put out there that I am not a salesman, but I'm doing my due diligence, and I'm trying to rally in some help along those ways, because that is not my strength. And Discover Clinton has jumped on board and said that they would help us with getting some businesses included in that, and we're hoping to have some organizations also. But we've gotten positive feedback so far. But we're hoping for a successful campaign.
How many total spots, can you remind me, was it?
So it's 40 spots, and then there's sponsors, and then there's money. And then we decided as a group that instead of pitting organization or business against each other, that on the back of the deeds cards it would have our CPAC logo on it. So like, we're hoping that the banks will buy some of the money and have their logo on the money. But then on the deeds cards, they could also have that, but we don't want to have that in, we want to keep it like as smooth as possible. And we also had a couple people make suggestions for the cover of the box and the board game. So what we decided on as a group was that we were going to do the dam as the outside cover picture, and then the fountain in the Central Park as the inside game board. And then we can have up to like 12 to 15 sponsors on the board itself just listed, and that's $50 each. So it would go like 40 spots plus money, plus deeds, and then,
Sponsorship.
yeah.
Kelly, you said they did this a long time ago, correct?
About 25 years ago, I guess we had done it.
Were the
I have a
were the
copy of the-
schools or like
It
the
was-
town hall, were any municipal places represented?
We did send letters out to all of the agencies, except I didn't have the correct address for the police association, so I will be getting that out tomorrow. But, we would love to have, but we sent one to the select board,
Okay.
and we have a contact at the library for the trustees of the library, so we're gonna do that. We would love to have like as many organizations also included, and we hope to do pre-orders through the school once we get a date as to when it's coming in, and then we're gonna do pre-orders through the community too. And I spoke to a couple businesses that would take, 5 games at a time out and sell it in their businesses for us. So we're not gonna like hold on to these games. We're hoping to sell them as soon as we can
Sure.
out.
So phase one, though, is to fill out the board, right?
Right.
We've gotta get
So
the
that's,
corporate
phase one
sponsors.
is that, and then we have to get like mock-ups from everyone saying like what their logo is and what it's gonna be.
Sure.
We've even told businesses that we can even split a spot if we can get the logo to fit right on it. Like, we're not like trying to like, we wanna make it as easily accessible
Right.
as we can to any of our places. So,
How much
but
was
that-
it for a property again?
It ranged from like $100 is the lowest to like 300, and our 300 spots are taken.
Oh, okay.
So, whew,
So boardwalk and
Whew,
park.
what a
Place.
relief. I was so worried about that, and then they were the
the only one I
first
can
two
remember.
taken, so.
Kelly,
So-
are you finding that the challenge is more with finding the right people to talk to, or just listen, no one's really, selling is tough, right? But is it finding the right
The
people at
selling
the
is
businesses?
tough, I have to say, selling is tough. I say, if I can talk to someone, I hope that my enthusiasm for our school district comes pouring out of my body, But,
Which it does.
the concept is, the initial amount feels like a lot, but if you were to take that money and split it between 500 games, like, that money would be well spent.
No, I think the value's there. I
Yeah.
guess what I was getting at is.
It's like
we
getting
could probably
that
have a conversation
to
offline
get-
if I can help direct
to
you to
get-
the right people.
To
I
get,
can
like,
help with
if
that.
you have a contact somewhere and
Sure.
they're willing to, I will talk to them, I will meet them for coffee, I will, we really want to do this,
Yeah, I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. Any help, any contacts, please reach out to us.
Thank you for all of your great work.
Thank you, it is a pleasure.
Kelly, what time was that speech thing tomorrow? You said there was
It's at 6:30
6:30.
in the CES library. Yep. So it's gonna be an informal meeting. We're gonna sit around as a table. Mara Nascimento is gonna do a brief overview, and then we'll do like a 5 to 10, unless it goes a little bit longer, but I'm not anticipating that much longer than that. And then we'll get into our regular business part of our meeting, and hopefully people will be taking on pieces of this board too.
perfect.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything from the CTA tonight?
Of course. I always have something to say, to share with you. Good stuff usually.
It might be.
We've received your proposal, negotiations, and we are meeting with Dr. Meyer next Wednesday, the 13th, to talk about the proposals. The MTA is sponsoring professional development for teachers with 5 years or less. It's called the Early Educators Conference, and it's going to be held Saturday, November 16th at Mountain View Middle School, which is a brandy new school that Holden has just built. The conference is from 8:30 to 3:30, and there's different seminars that speak to the needs of newer teachers. It counts as far as their hours that they need to put in for their mentoring program. Some of when they go online to register, totally free, but they can pick from various clinics. Has to do with stress, has to do with social emotional learning, has to do with LGBTQ issues. There's a wide variety of things that I looked at and I thought, wow, if I was a new educator, I'd like to go. So I have reminded all our new members
Great.
that
Do you know if anyone is going
I
yet? You don't
haven't
know? Okay.
heard. I will send out another email, saying.
It'd be good to get some feedback if anyone goes too about how
Yeah.
they found it, that's a great
Yeah,
opportunity.
but the last time I went to training on MTA, that MTA provided about social emotional learning, trauma-based issues that kids face, I thought it was fabulous. So that's all I have for CTA tonight.
That's great. Thank you.
Are you on to the public?
It's too good to be true.
Is there any public comment tonight?
Yes.
So typically in public comment, we would say, state your name but you are duly recognized, Ms. Quist.
Robin Quist, band director at the middle school, and this last week and a half or so, I've received 2 emails wanting to know from 2 different agencies what they can do to help our band program. So we have worked with Dunkin' Donuts probably off and on for the past 10 years, 11 years now. When they first opened up their new store in Clinton, the one down by Shaw's, they asked if the high school band would play for the ribbon cutting ceremony, and they gave us $500 for showing up on a Saturday morning and playing for an hour and a half.
As a donation.
As a
And not to
donation.
compromise their amateur status.
Right, right, they donated to our band program.
That's great.
And then several times since then, they've said if you would show up on a Saturday in December, we would, give you another donation. So we've done that. But I received an email the other day from this Joe Donovan, who's whatever his job is. He said, we have some donation money left, and we want to know if there's anything you need. So my first question when somebody says we have donation money, how much are you talking before I come up with either not enough, idea or too much idea? And so he said $1,000. So I thought about what we needed for the middle school band program, and I thought, we're kind of low on alto saxes. We have enough now, but thinking ahead to the beginners next fall, those students who can't afford to rent alto saxes, and they're one of the more expensive instruments, we could use a couple more. We could use another alto sax, at least. About $700 and something will buy us an alto sax. And then I also kind of looked at, well, we've got clarinets on the shelf, but they're not the really good ones. So maybe with our $1,000, I sent him back, I got a bid order from the rental company we deal with, and so for a little over $1,000, we can get an alto sax and a clarinet. So I sent him that information today, and I told him, because he said I need something in writing, I sent him the bid prices, and I said, thank you for your donation of $1,000, and with our $52 extra that we've earned from the gold card money, we could purchase 2 instruments. I'm hoping they're going to send us a check for $1,052, but Anyway, so that's good. And then the Wien Foundation, over the last few years, has given us $18,000 worth of instruments. And the email from them this week said, we haven't forgotten about you. We want to honor our 3-year commitment, because we've been they were unsure about whether they wanted to fund French horns or not. And so I'm kind of still thinking about that. So I need to reach out to him this week and say maybe I'd prefer to have maybe a couple alto saxes. And then they also wanted to know if we were going to need some maintenance money. So they wanted to know how their instruments that they had purchased for us were holding up, and they've been holding up really well, because it's probably too early for maintenance on that. But it was so nice to all of a sudden have 2 emails pop into my inbox that said, we'd like to give your program money.
It's great.
Nice problem to have. So,
Thank you so much.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Is there any other public comment? Thank you. Dr. Meyer?
All right, so the first thing we have tonight, the athletic boosters met with me over the summer, at the beginning of school year. I forget what it was, but right around then. And we talked about some different things, one of which was trying to start a Hall of Fame. So I have John and Lil here tonight. Your moral support. John Seidel is going to come on up and share some thoughts on starting the Hall of Fame here at Clinton.
So the Athletic Boosters would like to spearhead and form a Clinton High School Hall of Fame. We would like to take our nonprofit status and build the program to where it needs to go and spearhead it. We've developed a executive committee, which will be myself, the booster president, and Lillian Fournier, the co-booster president, as long as the athletic director, the high school principal, and Dr. Meyer as a tiebreaker vote within the executive committee. We're going to seek out 8 seats for the selection committee. The selection committee, where we all met and established that we would have 2 coaches, could be current or retired, 2 faculty members, current or retired, 2 alumni, and 2 community members to fill out the selection committee. The goal is to advertise and have applications for a selection committee to be able to pick at the end of January, where the executive board will decide on which members based on the applications, and then we will advertise for nomination requests from February till end of April. And the goal is to have a Hall of Fame banquet the Saturday after the first home football game of the 2020 school year.
So, I'm sorry, so,
Yep.
just the first part of your process
Yeah.
is to develop the committee and then set the criteria,
Yep.
then to seek nominations for the inaugural class.
Yes.
And then to recognize that class during the fall athletic season. Is
Yes.
that- okay.
Yep. Yeah, so we won't rush into it this year. We're thinking that the first home football game at halftime, we could bring the nominees out, recognize them in front of the home crowd, and then the following evening have a banquet for them and their families.
Do you envision it physically being in high school?
Um,
Like the space for it? Like, where would we?
Well, so we were talking about
We
that
were
a little
talking
bit,
like
and we're thinking it
plaques.
might be more just kind of like one of those, like a plaque where we just sort of do names of the induction classes, you know what I mean?
Oh,
If we did
sure.
something like that, we were talking about different categories. You might have, teams that get inducted, individuals get inducted, so almost similar to kind of like the valedictorian plaques or something that are out there.
Yep.
We might be able to put those up, so I don't think,
Yeah,
it's not
we've
gonna be,
looked-
it's not like going through Canton, but.
No, we've looked around. There's some really good on the national high school websites. There's a athletic director out in Ohio that had a nice PowerPoint, and they had some examples of the plaques that go on the wall. And what they do is they'll have the name plaque, and then right below it, they'll actually have a booklet with each inductee and kind of the write-up that we would have in the banquet pamphlet. so that way students can look at it, see what that individual accomplished. It's just basically we want to be able to have a positive role model for any of the athletic students within the school. So,
It's an exciting
It's a great
idea.
yes.
Questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I'm not very involved in sports, I'll be the first to say that, but do we have a sports banquet currently? And do we do any of this now?
So the sports banquets that we have currently are for the current seasons
Yep.
and for the seniors. So this banquet would only be for the Hall of Fame inductees and their families,
Okay.
and anyone in the public if we have capacity at
Okay.
that time. So.
I think this is a fabulous idea.
Absolutely.
I've been wanting Clinton to do something like this for a long time. It's a great fundraiser, and the fact that the boosters are taking it over. I know you used to have a wonderful yearly fundraiser that I loved at the town hall, and for some reason it went away. But I'm just thinking as far as the induction weekend.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I know Clinton is so rich in sports. I think it's going to be a really popular event. I think it'll be great from a marketing standpoint. I'm just wondering if I know a lot of class reunions are that weekend. I'm just wondering how many people don't live in this area anymore that would want to
So-
come home, especially if they
Yep.
were an honoree.
Yep. And
You know
I'm
what I
thinking
mean?
the timing
I'm
would
thinking
be-
is the timing
And that's why
more near
for
Thanksgiving.
the nominations, we were going to go from accepting nominations from February to the end of April. So that way we can establish and vote as a selection committee for the first month of May, and then be able to send out invitations during the summer months. So that way we can get back RSVPs if they would like to be present, and if they wouldn't. It kind of gives them a couple months to plan.
I think to Mrs. Zapantis' point, though, that if you were looking at a time where there's sort of an organic gathering of people back to Clinton around the holidays, you might stand a better chance of an acceptance that's a yes.
Yep.
Is that
Right,
fair to
right.
say?
And it's just a thought,
Yep.
because there may be too many there might be too many
Yeah.
date competitions there with
It's
people
also
having
down
their
the road, too,
reunions
so-
Yeah.
there
but-
too, but.
Yeah, most like Neshoba, most of the surrounding schools will have theirs around Thanksgiving, because that seems to be the time when everyone comes back into town. So we'll explore, when we want to have it, but we know we want to have it by the end of, within that November, October timeframe.
So this will serve as a nice fundraiser for the boosters.
No, so
Oh.
what this will do is we will establish the first 2 years. We will establish it. All the monies coming in will be in a separate bank account, just going towards the Hall of Fame fund to help pay for plaques, the banquet, and future endeavors for it. The plan is, if with ticket sales for banquets and sponsorships, to establish its own nonprofit entity, and then be able to pass it on to other board members that would like to take this on. So it's not the boosters.
The point is that it's
Yep.
self-sustaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So this will be independent fundraising from the boosters. So.
So, would you like a, go ahead,
I was
sorry,
just
other
going to say,
questions,
so
go ahead.
Steve, is there something specific you need from us in regard to,
No.
because I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it happen.
I don't necessarily think, being that Booster's doing it, I don't think necessarily we need formal approval.
Yeah,
However, just, when talking to John, I just said, it's a nice gesture to come,
Yeah.
share it with the school committee,
Sure.
make sure we all know, what's going on. I didn't want you guys to hear about it when you see a nomination form in the item or something like that, and you're saying, what's going on with this? So, and I also, figured that's an opportunity, if there's any specific concerns or things like that, then we could address those as necessary. But I don't believe there's any specific action that we need to take. I can, at this time, so.
So I'll put that back to the board. Do you have any questions based on?
I do. For I be honest with you,
Yeah.
when I felt when I first saw this, I wasn't for it. I'll be honest, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you convinced me, okay? Just no, and I think when I saw it, like when Smitty put the banner up this year for the 3 state champions we have in Clinton, I thought that was a great idea. And yet I run into people in town that the older people get, the better they were, and there were people telling me how that they were state champs. you know, and that was my fear when they started talking about it, Hall of Fame is, you know, going forward, it's great because you get to see them, but there's people that come forward and say, you know, my grandfather was great, or my uncle, and they're deceased. And I was afraid this would turn into kind of a political thing, where, you know, Steve would get a call, or Scott, or someone, hey, you know what, how come he left my brother out? And then instead of being a good thing for the school, it turns negative. But the fact, that, you know, when you have this, you know, it wasn't just a couple people in a room that no one knew who they were, like the BCS has. It's I'm still bitter. But no, but the fact that you're including everybody, so it can't be one person in the room.
Yes.
And I hate the word bullying, but
Yep.
pushing people, you know, pushing their agenda because they want to get, you know, someone in there, or leaving someone out that was going to help. So,
Yes.
you know, when I first came in, I read that, you know, I was afraid that Smitty would get the same
No.
people going, no,
That was
my brother
our
was always, he
concern.
was the best running back ever, and
Yeah.
you'll find out, you know, he ever played. But
That was our concern when we met with Mr. Cermak and Mr. Smith, and that's where we came out with the 2 seats and try to fill every category, so that way it's not just a group, a gang, a mob of people voting just the same people in. The nomination forms will have to have proof, so we want to see proof that what you're stating. The yearbooks go all the way back to 1914 in that closet.
So do you plan on giving out posthumous awards as well?
Yes, so I know the first year we plan on giving out all the memorial awards that the students, the seniors get at the end of the year. The plan was to gather those and get those people and their families in the Hall of Fame first, and then any other afterlife that comes in, depending on if we do have a character kind of clause that you have to come in and show that you were a positive influence within the town of Clinton. So any afterlife will be considered automatic kind of into the Hall of Fame as long as they've represented the town and the school in a positive fashion.
So even if you weren't that great of an athlete,
Yes,
you
so-
could get,
yeah,
you
so
get a
the-
chance.
so you're going to have to really dig.
So we
No,
will
I do.
have,
I think it's a wonderful idea. Now, will the actual banquet be open for anybody, for the public to buy tickets, or
yes, so
only?
that was, my intention was to have it open to the public. That just raises revenue and fundraising for the next year.
Interesting words.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of what we wanted to, bring in, and it allows us to purchase plaques. It allows us to make the banquet bigger. Maybe depending on how much this gets and traction this gets, it might be a large event for the first 5 years and then kind of dwindle down. So it's kind of how can we build the fundraising early to help sufficient years.
Sustainability. That's great. It's
But there will
balance.
be 4 categories. So there'll be student athletes, teams, there will be coaches, and green and gold category, which is community members that have had a positive influence within the sports programs.
And this is all inclusive of all the sports, even like, ones they do with like hockey or wrestling or things that they do with
Co-ops.
other schools' co-ops?
Yeah,
It's all of it?
Yeah, we'll explore the co-ops. I'll have to talk with Neshoba
Yeah.
to see how those students are recognized, if they're recognized within the Neshoba program, or if we would take them on. So as we build the committee, we will talk with the other co-op schools. And if the other co-op schools do not have them, as we do, and then we are you have to be removed from the school for 5 years. So it is a 5-year, and then once your name is on the ballot, it stays on the ballot for the next 5 years if you do not get voted in. So almost like any other Major League Sports Hall of Fame.
Anything else? I appreciate the thoroughness in the planning and preparation and your presentation, and I don't think you'll have any difficulty at all in coming up with a pretty large list of names.
Yep.
We have an embarrassment of riches of tremendous student athlete
Yep.
with outstanding character. So I wish you all the success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you. So much for the exciting stuff now. Let's go move on.
I was telling, we were
Yeah.
talking about this in the conference room. in the central office, and we have all the Super Bowl winning teams. So you got to do like a strategy, like put the '99 team in this year, but then the 2000 team in the next year, so the guys come back again. All right. So the next thing I just had was the assessment and accountability presentation follow-up. What we're going to do is, just so it's on camera, I'm going to go through this exact same presentation again. No, I'm just kidding. So it's just an opportunity so that if the presentation you just heard in the Tri-Council meeting, I didn't know if anyone did have any comments or questions that they wanted to make on that. I just wanted to give you sort of a public forum to make them. I know some of the material has kind of already been presented to the board, so I don't know if you have any comments or not, but I just, as an opportunity, just a final kind of opportunity, I just figured I'd add it to the agenda.
So for our viewing home audience, Dr. Meyer was able to present the district accountability. Each of the principals spoke to their particular piece of the accountability overview and their school's report cards and their takeaways from the work and analysis and their action steps moving forward. So any questions from the committee?
No questions, just, I think one of the things that would be super interesting as these numbers continue to, because they're dynamic, right, from year to year as you're seeing the results, is how public, how your PD days sort of begin to align with how we're wanting to see results, right? Like you talked a lot about, a few weeks back, we talked a lot about what the PD days are and what you go over and how. I think that I was saying to Joel a little bit on the side is, how we develop our teachers and how we give them the skill sets to follow through on what we expect of the kids. It probably I imagine it probably starts there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the kids are going to come with their abilities and their attention and their excitement for learning, but probably the results of the testing is going to come from PD just straight down through. So I think it's going to be exciting to continue to learn what we're doing for PD because it's all new to me, and I think it's pretty awesome that you get the opportunity to see how it starts from the top and kind of rolls through the kids from year to year.
No, and I think
it's great.
that's important. Now I think you kind of see how we sort of map our, we try to map our goals to sort of our data.
Mm-hmm.
We plan our PD to support our goals, and then we
Absolutely.
should be able to follow that through and see how did that align to, any measurable improvement, and then kind of go from there. So
That's
yeah.
great.
I actually, one of the council members asked a question that I thought was very good, and I was hoping that Dr. Meyer could answer it again, because I don't know if I got distracted while you were, but I thought it would be great for the public too to hear, was his question went to, with all the results and all the key actions that we're taking, do we have any type of measurable between next year's, this school year's tests before we get the results back?
And I think, so just my general comment to that is, I think we're continuing to work to try to add more benchmark assessments and common assessments, and particularly so for our new Eureka Math program, there should be a common end of module assessment. We can use that data to try to get some cross the grade, information about which students are, mastering a standard, what students aren't, or how are we doing with our instruction? Is there something we need to reteach? Is there individual students we need to intervene? So I think, we have some of those benchmark and common assessments in place, more so in the younger grades, but I think that's how we want to continue to have that, because you're right, you don't just want to, you don't just
Want to wait till another good
right, you
test.
don't just want to wait a year and hope it's better this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the next agenda item here, I had the district self-assessment, leadership and governance. So in your packet, you have a completed version of this. So I think I gave you the blank template a couple meetings ago, or last meeting, I forget exactly. So I went through and I tried to rate us. So like the first page for each one, indicator 1 talks about school committee governance and says that the school committee focuses on improvement, establishes a culture of collaboration, those types of things. So I rated on, I kind of did a self-assessment on where I thought we were, and then you could see the next page is sort of the narrative that kind of supports that. And then I list the documents that I feel that we could include as evidence to support those claims. So I don't know if you had a chance to read through it, if you guys have any, if you're in agreement with those ratings, if you have any questions, concerns, things that you think aren't accurate, things that you think have been omitted. But I tried to be, I tried to be fair, and I tried to think, like, if I'm saying something in the narrative, how can I back that up? And that's why I tried to make sure we listed the evidence there, so.
You made us sound good.
Well, and I think the board knows as well that Dr. Meyer rolled this out to the curriculum committee as well, and they have, so there's a comprehensive look at all of the pieces of this self-assessment at a pretty granular level, with all of the stakeholders.
And I guess I should say too, I also shared this has already been shared with our administrative team.
Yep.
So I took an initial draft, the administrative team got it, they got some feedback from them, we made some tweaks, and I wanted to share it with you, because obviously you're indicator one there, so. So it's just, like I said, this document's due in February, so I'm just trying to kind of, work on it section by section. So if you guys have any, like I say, if you have questions or concerns, if anyone has any tonight, I could take them. If not, if you want to, if you want a chance to read through it, again, if you have anything else you want to email me, it doesn't have to be, we don't necessarily need a vote to accept this. Just want to try to make sure it's accurate and that we're making some progress as we go through.
So I guess I would just say, as far as our committee is concerned, are we agreed that these ratings, this overview is consistent with where you want to be or where you feel that we are? You feel it's accurate? I'm seeing nods in the affirmative.
I mean, I feel it is. I know we have, two relatively new members on the committee, but I think that in general, we've been a collaborative committee, and I think that we're focusing on improvement, we're looking at data, we're doing things, and I think even going back to, I know it's a couple of years ago, but they don't do these every year, right? So going even back to we had a strategic planning process where we invited in the community, and you know what? We still refer to that, and we still
Right.
try to see how we're doing on that. So, I think that those are things that they should know about. So.
I think they're justified. I just wanted to make sure that the board agreed.
So as far as I know you talked about the goals that we set as a committee and that you, like the district goals.
Yeah.
But should we put something in there that we set specific goals?
For the superintendent?
Yeah, we do like a superintendent evaluation. I don't know if it's worth mentioning, if that's would support
No, you know
one of
what?
the-
We've actually done the superintendent evaluation process, which there are plenty of school committees that don't do that as well. So we could make a reference to that. So I think I could probably build that in there. And if they wanted evidence, there's
We have.
Ample.
you have my evaluations.
Ample
I mean,
evidence.
that's in there,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Okay.
no, that's not a bad one to add in there.
Probably in that first paragraph on the.
Yeah, focusing on improvement or
Yeah.
even, yeah, all right, so yeah, that's a good one.
Any other questions on the self-assessment? Doesn't look like it.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
And like I said, I'll try to, this is due in February, so as we kind of start piecing more of it together, I'm sure you'll see some more of these kind of come your way as we get to that, as we kind of complete some certain sections, and maybe as they kind of line up with the strategic plan focus, we'll kind of bring these as a way of checking in on that. Okay? All right, so the next thing was just sort of the reminder, the MASC Joint Conference is this week, so I will be attending on Wednesday and Thursday. I will be coming back probably Friday morning or Thursday night because we do have the Professional Development Day on Friday. And I know Joel will be attending,
Deb.
and Deb will be attending, so we'll have some
And also-
representation there, so it'll be great.
Publicly, I appreciate the opportunity to attend. I got a lot out of it. It's a great opportunity for professional development for school committee members.
Normally I like to attend, but the dates just didn't
Yeah.
work out for me to do.
Yeah, everything's kind of thrown off a little bit that's on the calendar, so.
All right. The November 18th meeting. So November 18th is scheduled to be a celebrations meeting. What we're going to do is typically, what we've done each year is we've recognized the John and Abigail Adams Scholars around this time of year. That's usually a large crowd. So what we would like to do is, what I'd like to recommend is that we move the meeting to the CHS auditorium. I know in the past, I think we had a little bit of sound difficulty there, but so we'll try to work on it.
Yeah.
But I know that I think it's just an appropriate venue, and because we're going to
Sure.
recognize so many students, it's a nice venue to have it.
Nice. I think, did I hear that they, we fixed the lighting? We always thought it was something with the sound system that gave off this
Vibration, but it was the lighting.
vibration noise, but I think I heard that it was the lighting.
I don't know if the lighting's fixed yet, though. I think the lighting isn't.
Compared to what we had, it's like the sun came out. So there's still some more that has to happen there, but it is very nice.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good.
Right.
Can I? just-
Please.
Okay. I used the auditorium last year. We replaced all the light bulbs, and months later, they were not burned out, but there's an electrical issue where they don't turn on. And when they bring them down and jiggle them, they turn back on. So it's definitely an electrical issue up there.
Okay.
But I do know, so I know that they've been working on it. They did a lot of the replacement with some of the LED stuff. That's why they got some of the, like, those noises and stuff, I think, out of there. And then,
Oh, good.
but I think we're still working on some of the dimmer type control stuff is still working on, right? So, but it's in progress.
Okay.
Great.
So everyone's okay with moving that? So when we
Yes.
post it,
Sure.
we'll,
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
All right.
So, and as long as we post that in the agenda,
Right.
okay,
Yep.
great.
We'll post it. We'll make a note of it.
All right,
All right, that's all I had.
okay. So the curriculum committee's next meeting is it next week?
No,
No,
it was
it's the-
December,
It's December
9th or something, I
12th or
think.
13th.
It was-
It's the second Wednesday of the month
Which I know
in
it's supposed to
December
avoid, but-
at 3 o'clock. I was able to attend
The
the
11th.
first curriculum committee meeting, and I did it as well. And there's a lot of great work going on. Not only horizontally across the departments, but vertically as well, and it's exciting. Anything from safety?
We met.
We just met, last week.
Anything to report out yet?
I think we just worked with law enforcement to try to coordinate, some of the drills and,
Sure.
measures that we want to put in place. We had some discussion about, lockdown drills, those
Yep.
types of things. Also some discussion about drug dogs. I know we did update the policy on that last year, so we just talked about what it, just a reminder of the steps it would take to, what's entailed in that. So, I think it was a good meeting. It was well attended. It's always great to have the police and the fire and everyone in there so that we can really just kind of get on the same page. I think the other thing that really came up that was a reminder of something we need to continue to work on. We kind of came up with sort of a stopgap, but the communication and just making sure that we have, like I said, we kind of implemented sort of Remind as like a way to kind of get some emergency notifications out. But really, there's a lot more comprehensive products out there that do that type of stuff, and we want to probably get back to researching those. So,
The one thing, it was the first time I actually saw it firsthand, was that traffic mess out front of the elementary school. And I don't have an answer. I just have to identify a problem and leave it hanging. But we happen to meet at 3 o'clock, and I mean, it's not bad enough that the cars go in the loop and stop, but they literally just stop in the middle of Church Street. And there was Tommy Boston's out there, and Officer Guerrero, and I don't know who from your staff was out there, but there had to be 6 people trying to move vehicles, and they literally just stopped there. And I don't have an answer, but there's got to be something before. I know the children or the kids are safe over there, but there's parents and people running everywhere. I don't have an answer, but I think it's something the safety committee.
well, that's the thing. If you over the summer, we originally talked to the safety committee, or at least the police, when we had a meeting with them. about looking at potentially trying to flip-flop the buses and the parent drop-off. And then, because really when you look back at original drawings, that kind of banana in there was designed as the bus drop-off zone. But then you talk to people who've been there long enough, they say, oh yeah, well, that's what it was when they opened, and then that didn't work, so they flipped it. So I know that Chief Levenger said they, might want to kick that back to the traffic committee in town to kind of look at it. But, it's just, there's a lot going on
Yeah,
at the end of the day there.
It's a tough time of the day, and it's just, so.
And I wonder with the repairs that we're planning hopefully down.
That's another thing, High Street is
in the
gonna be.
the parking lot down behind the school. I feel like the parking along that fence in front of the school, if a lot of that congestion wasn't there with the employee parking, if we had enough parking for all the employees down back, that might help a little bit. I
To
know
make
we have
that-
some repairs,
Okay.
and then there's kind of a back parking lot there that I believe belongs to us, but I think a lot of the tenants of the homes that live down there park there. So if somehow we could police that, maybe make enough room for all of our employees to park down there, we wouldn't have that congestion, and there'd be a lot more room for parents to, pull in there to pick up. And I also had the idea, but they told me it wasn't a good one, but I'll say it again anyways, of giving up the space on the side lawn of the superintendent's building. That whole space there, it's just a grassy area that's not really used for anything, so.
Just saying, make that into like parking?
Parking,
Yeah.
right, so. But you're always gonna need the traffic cops down there because you're
It's quite a
crossing the
handful, isn't
street.
it?
So,
So are you taking it to the step where you want to direct the superintendent to kick that to the safety committee? or
Well, I think we
is-
did. I think I'm just,
Yeah, we
we
talked
we
about
did talk about
safety,
it,
yeah.
and like you said, Chief Lovenger, and because he's on the parking.
He's on the traffic
Traffic committee
committee, yeah.
himself.
Okay,
is to
so-
just kind of look at, like you said, if they,
It's in front of the right
yeah,
people.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, it's,
Well, we're trying to we're trying to track down now a little bit of some of the historical information in terms of, like I said, the building was built to have the buses in front and the parents in the back. They switched that at some time after it opened. Now, there was obviously a reason they did that,
Right.
right? So now, before you say, hey, let's switch it back, let's figure out what that reason
Right.
was, not to, and so that's why we want to try to talk to the traffic committee and try to see what we can figure out.
Joel, I think Mr. Rulo has a question.
I'm sorry.
Just a note, Mr. Bates, is that Tommy Boston, who does a fantastic job down there, works as part of the senior center program. So he's not an employee of ours, but he's been there for a couple of years, and Tommy does a fantastic job, working down there with the kids, and that's something that Steve and I talked about a couple of years ago, just for the safety of the student. The police department has worked in cooperation with everybody in order to make sure that's safe. We did discuss, as Dr. Meyer said, is maybe getting rid of some of the traffic in front of the school, is a possibility, in order to see the lines a little bit better out there visibly in order for some of the students to walk by. But I just wanted to put a note in for Mr. Boston, who is part of a different program, and we get him down there because of the program that they have with the senior center, and that's the reason why he's down there. He did a nice job.
And I think for the most part, that might have been how we got him in the beginning, but a lot of times now it's just because he's volunteering and helping out.
Well,
He does a
Please
great
extend
job.
our thanks to him.
I think we honored him.
we-
yeah,
we-
we gave him
Employee
employee of the
month,
month, yeah.
We do want to make sure that we're keeping him safe too, whether
Yeah.
he's an employee or not, but,
He's got an official stop sign.
Yeah, Mr. Rulo got it all
Okay.
signed.
And a yellow vest, I hope, too.
All right, marketing committee's coming up.
November 14th at
Yep.
5 PM
great.
at the superintendent's office.
So those two policies should be in the packet.
Yep, so we have policies KHB and FFA. And we can take them separately or together. These aren't, a surprise to either of you, to either of the policies shouldn't be a surprise. We've discussed them
So
already.
neither had changes?
Nope.
Well, the other one was
So
a
K,
first reading.
yeah, KHB is a review, and then FFA is a MASC model policy we did not previously have.
Have one, okay. Should we vote, should we make the motion separately, or could we do them together?
Well, I think it's probably better to take the motion separately, just in case there's discussion on either one of them. So, would someone like to make a motion to approve the review of the existing policy KHB advertising in the schools?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, now, any discussion on it?
Yeah, I know I mentioned it when we first put this out to the subcommittee.
Yep.
Is I wanted something in the policy letter prohibiting, I know Mr. Cermak talked about it with the vaping and the marijuana shops and basically any, I don't want to advertise anything on school grounds that kids can't use, if that, and I don't.
You don't think the language covers that in
No,
this?
this just basically leaves it up to the school committee. I think the policy should be, it shouldn't be, first of all, I don't know why it's up to the committee. I think, and that's another issue, I think it should be up to Steve, or the superintendent.
Yeah.
But I just think it should be spelled out. It shouldn't be up to any individual to say, well, I know the guy that owns this shop, so I'm gonna, there shouldn't be a gray area. The bottom line is if the kids are gonna be suspended or reprimanded for using a product, we shouldn't make money off it. And to put a sign up in the back of the football field or baseball field and say, vape shop or marijuana shop on school grounds is just, it's hypocritical. And I really think it should be spelled out. It shouldn't be, left up to anybody's interpretation.
I think the issue we'd come across when we were reviewing this is you do have places in town that do both. They're like a convenience store, but they also have products. So are you excluding these?
No, I wouldn't want it on the sign. If it's, and I don't know, I hear what you're saying, let's say, I don't want to name one, but I don't do an
Yeah,
advertisement.
I know, we can all think of it.
No, but if there's, like, the Bird Hill Market no longer is open, so I
There
use
you
that
go.
one, okay? So if it says Bird Hill Market and they get, sandwiches, whatever, fine, but
Yeah.
I don't want to see on that sign,
Cold beer.
cold beer,
On Sundays.
I mean, I know where I get mine, but, no, I just don't, I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And
Well, we left the wording without prior approval of the school committee. So we're on the committee, we can all vote no.
It also says that solicitation of sales or use of the name of the school system to promote any product will not be permitted.
But it's on school property. I mean, I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but when the kids are out, our high school kids are over here on the baseball field, and you're telling them, for instance, tobacco products, right? They can't dip, and yet we got a sign there that says, hey, go to Bird Hill Market and get your tobacco. It's just a bad example. It should be just spelled out. And the way I would take this is, do we have to approve every, let's say for the boosters, okay? So if they wanted to put something up, we have to approve every sign that goes up on the field. If they go out and they do the legwork and they go to 15 businesses, then they have to come back to us and show us each sign.
Or we would have to approve their proposal to even
So that's why I
solicit
think-
the signs, and they would have to have something in there.
So if we had just put in the policy that these we won't allow, and then it should be at the discretion, I think, of the superintendent. I don't think they should have, and again, just my 2 cents here, I don't think they should have to come back to the school committee and say, here, it should go to, in this case, Steve's office.
If we're not going to have, like you said, the marijuana places that are coming to town, but we're going to have the liquor stores.
Well, I wouldn't
I think they're
advertise.
equal.
I wouldn't advertise, that's what I meant, I wouldn't
Yeah.
advertise if it's just a liquor store. If it said, just a liquor
Yeah.
store, and I wouldn't do it. It's just,
Okay.
so when the kids drink it, you're told them,
Yep.
So again, I think when we look at policies as a committee, we want them as broad as possible. So the intent of putting this in front of you is that no advertising of commercial products or services, doesn't matter what the product or service is, will be permitted in school buildings or on grounds or properties without prior approval of the school committee. Now, if you want that, if you feel more comfortable with that being prior approval of the superintendent before it comes to the school committee, so that there's a vetting process. I mean,
that's fine,
I think probably we could keep the regular policy, but we might be able to add just sort of like one line that basically tells you that the school committee is not going to approve anything that is advertising a product you know,
For
Not
no one
suitable
under
for
21.
children.
Not suitable for children playing, right, right,
There you go.
right.
All right, so would you like to amend the motion to include the language as stated, that,
That Steve just said, yes.
okay?
Just saying
So-
something like,
Right,
not
yes.
allowed to advertise for anything. Because the thing that, the business that comes to my mind is Apple Country Market.
Right.
Great supporter of,
Yep.
you know, programs and things that we've done. Great little, you know, everybody knows Apple Country. You know, you can buy beer there. You can buy cigarette and tobacco products there. But I feel like just a sign that says Apple Country Market
It's fine.
Yes.
is not what we have a
No,
problem with.
no,
So
So I
something to the
just
effect
one
good
of,
plug for that business.
but like the school committee will not approve advertising featuring products not suitable for children.
There you go.
So it's featuring the product, so it's not just your business.
Yes.
Like you said, if you
That's
want to
right.
just, if you want to support it, because they can come there and buy
But just
gum
take
and
up,
whatever, but, yeah, okay.
Okay, would someone like to amend the motion to accept policy KHB, including the line, Dr. Meyer, would you read it one more time?
That the school committee will not approve any advertising featuring products not suitable for children.
Okay, would someone like to make,
I'll make that motion.
motion is
second.
made to amend it, would someone like to second that?
Second that.
Second. Any further discussion on the motion as amended? There being none, all those in favor? Thank you. Nice work.
All right.
All right.
That's my speechwriter.
Policy FFA. It's an MASC model policy. As previously discussed, it takes into account, recognition of the death of a student, member of the staff, prominent community member, and so forth. But provides the school district with a more responsible way to approach that, and sort of grandfathers in permanent memorials already in existence. Would someone like to make a motion to approve policy FFA?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second, I haven't seconded
Thank you, thank you. Any discussion?
I don't know, this one was just a little concerning, only
Sure.
because a couple pop up, you know, recent, that we have somewhat of a, I don't know if we could call a bench a permanent memorial or not, but I know we already do have a couple of benches.
So, I don't think we probably made this point clear, that a memorial that's currently in place prior to the adoption of this policy can only be removed if if the school committee takes a
Right,
vote
right,
to remove it. So it sort of, keeps those existing memorials in place to the degree that we can, but we felt strongly that that piece had to be there to sort of honor the things that have already been granted. We certainly, don't want to change the way that person was memorialized. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. There being no further discussion, all those in favor? Thank you, unanimous. Anything under facilities?
No, I just, when Mr. Bailey and I did meet with Russ Karlstad, he did talk about the lighting, and there has been some work done in the auditorium. I just wanted to make mention of that, because he had told us about I don't remember exactly what had been done, but I remember discussing it, that
Yeah.
it was going to be.
So they had done some of the upgrades, but they didn't, like I said, they did some upgrades to the fixtures themselves. I think right now we're working on making sure all the, like the light board itself and all those things are functioning properly.
Hold on a second.
Okay, sorry.
Anything else from the committee? So can I ask a question quick, and I promise we'll come back to you, but just with regard to facilities, when do we expect to hear on our statement of interest with MSBA?
Oh, it's usually around the end of November, first week of December.
Okay.
They'll have their meeting, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Quist.
I just wanted to add that the company that's lights to LED lights at the middle school is still working. They were in the band room this afternoon. They were doing the last 2 sets across the back, so. And then they said that they were going to be working on a stage in the cafeteria at the middle school sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
So they're still in the building.
Yeah, they're around. They'll be around,
They
yeah.
haven't finished the product. They kind of come sporadically.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe with regard to facilities and some of these things that come up, is it, I don't know if it's worth inviting Director Carlstad to one of our future meetings, just in terms of an update at where we are with some of the projects
Yep.
that he's discussed with us, and, sort of what the status is, what those action items look like.
Yeah, I'll try to work to either get him here on the 18th or the December 9th meeting,
Okay.
depending on his availability.
Great,
Yep.
thanks. Anything under subcommittee work? Nope.
No, nothing to report.
Okay. Anything under old business? Anything under new business?
Washington DC got off this morning at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
I'm one happy
Yeah,
guy.
Yep. Thank you to everyone involved in taking our children away
Yep.
and
No
and more
hurry.
importantly, bringing them
back.
back safe and happy and enriched. So many people do so many great things that really compromise their own home lives to give our children opportunities, and it is deeply appreciated.
Can I share one thing?
Yeah.
That the football team will be playing this Friday.
Yes, thank you.
At 7 o'clock. We're playing a night game finally.
Yes.
And it's the Salute the Troops night. They'll be debuting some uniforms for that evening, and they're inviting all veterans to attend the game free of charge. Veterans are welcome to come. If they report to the field at 6:40, they'll be recognized. They can come right on the home sideline to be recognized. So it's just a way. It's Veterans Day weekend, so honoring the troops.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Outstanding.
And I'm glad you brought that up. On that note, just, and I'm sure Mr. Smith and Coach Ball and them will bring it up, but the American Legion from Clinton contributed, I don't know the exact amount, to purchase those shirts. And so, just thanks to, I don't know anybody that's in the Legion anymore other than Mr. Vanass, but.
Please extend our
Yeah,
thanks.
they
Appreciate
I know
it.
Harold and Smitty met with them directly, but they cut a check for half the jerseys.
And Dr. Myers, at the elementary school, is having a veterans breakfast Thursday?
Yes, Thursday morning. Yes,
Thursday
thank you. I don't know what time. Is this what time? 9 o'clock. I know I couldn't go because I'll be at the Cape, so I said my regrets.
They're sacrificing to go to the Cape, right?
So tickets are on sale currently for the Clinton Holiday Pops
Yes.
concert at the Town Hall, Saturday, December 7th. Most years we do have the middle school symphony singers. This year we don't actually, usually it's a every other year cycle. But our guest reader this year is our former high school principal.
Principal Emeritus.
Mr. Hastings. So
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And how do people get those tickets?
it's through the Parks and Rec. You can buy them online, or you can visit the Parks and Rec. The floor seating is only $20. It's a wonderful concert that I highly recommend.
Anything else under new business?
I'll just reiterate one thing. I know that the student rep mentioned it, but our boys soccer team did win today, 3-0 over Keefe Tech, and their next game is Thursday. We don't have the exact
Outstanding.
results on it, but that's our next game.
Oh,
Go
exciting.
get them, Gales. Will the Hall of Fame extend to the middle school chess team through the years? Because
You want to check your eligibility?
It's about my only shot.
I was talking about people just make stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was a state champion in middle school.
Anytime you want to play, Mr. Bailey, we can do it publicly on camera. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everything you do. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Are we entering into executive?
We are not.
No, we don't
I'll
need
make
those.
that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you. Have a good
I wanted
night.
to catch